Hey everyone, it's Amber. Today I'm going to be talking about how to make time for reading as a student, specifically like a college student. So in high school, I thought I had trouble balancing reading and balancing school, but boy was I wrong, because college, it's very, very hard to balance everything, and there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Like, you would think that it's just the work and stuff in classes, but actually I have a lot more time between classes now, because rather than my schedule being from 7 a.m. to 2 like it was in high school, now I have a class from 8:30 to 9:45, and then I'm off until 3, and then I have another class, and then, you know what I mean? So you have so much time in between classes that sometimes your time gets jumbled, and sometimes you're like, oh, I just want to watch Netflix, or I just want to scroll through Instagram. And there's always friends around because you live with them, considering that if you live on campus, and then there's just so much to do. So you always you feel bad not studying, not doing homework, and you just need to balance your time, basically. I'll give you some background on me. I'm going into my spring semester of my sophomore year, so I'm almost halfway done. So I feel like I can talk about this now. My first year of college, I didn't read anything. I read one poetry book and that's it, because I was not good at balancing, reading and school. But I feel like every semester I've been getting a little bit better. The first semester, not even thinking about reading. Second semester, freshman year, I read a book and I was thinking about it and I was feeling bad that I wasn't really reading a lot. Now that I'm a sophomore, my first semester I read a couple books, which was cool. And now, this semester, I'm ready to read a lot of books. I really want to read a ton of books this semester, and I want to help you guys, and this also is going to motivate me because I need to kind of keep these tips in mind for when I'm reading and stuff. So I just want to get right into these tips because I think that these are really going to help you. So I have 5 tips for how to basically manage your time and how to fit in reading even if you have a super busy schedule. So my first tip is to read in between. Basically what I mean, for me, I get a lot of reading done when I'm not supposed to be doing it. I know that sounds really counterproductive, but I don't know, I've always done that with homework, and I've always done that with reading. I just get so much done when that's not the set thing I'm doing. I will get ready for class and listen to an audiobook. I wake up early in the morning so that I can get ready, and then I have a half an hour to an hour to read, or even 20 minutes or 15 minutes. If you just wake up 15 minutes earlier, and you could even just sit in bed for that 15 minutes and read, set another alarm, and then get up, that will really, really help you. I just find reading in between really helps me. I also download books on my phone and on my laptop sometimes. Maybe at the beginning of a class, a professor doesn't start right away, or a teacher if you're in high school, and then you can read a book on your phone or on your laptop. Obviously, if you have friends in the class, you're probably going to want to socialize with the friends, but because I found that as well, and you don't want to ruin your social life just to get more reading done. You want to read when you want to read. But I've had a ton of classes that I've been completely alone in, so in those classes I would read a little bit before the class started. So that is really, really helpful. There's tons of moments in between to do some reading. The next one I have sounds really obvious, but I feel like it's not sometimes, and that is to just read. Sometimes I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know, do I want to read? Do I not want to read? I kind of want to watch YouTube or Netflix. I don't know. Do I want to read? Just read. Just pick up a book. If you don't want to read, just put it down. I'm so bad at this one, but I know it, but I'm just really bad. I feel like people make excuses about that stuff all the time, and we spend so much time on social media that we could be spending doing other things, listening to a podcast or reading. So just read. If you want to read, just read, and you will make the time for it if it's something that you want to do. You can read every night before bed if you have time then. So if that's important to you, try to make that time. You could just go right to bed when you're in school, and then, wake up earlier and then read. The next tip I have is to read every day, which is something that I'm trying to do. Even if it's just listening to 10 minutes of an audiobook in the morning when I get ready, or reading in the morning, or reading at night before bed, I want to try to read every single day. It doesn't matter for me the amount of time I read or the page count or anything. I just want to try to pick up a book every single day to keep it on my mind. I have a planner, and in it has a little habit tracker, and I, fill it in for every day I read, so I'm going to try to keep track of it that way. But I think reading every single day kind of gets you in the mindset that that is an important thing. That's a priority. You want to do it every day. So maybe start tracking it. Get like a habit tracker app. Of course, if you don't want to read, like, don't force yourself to read, but definitely like have it in mind. The next one that I have is to DNF, because I feel like when I'm reading a book that I'm not that motivated to read and that I'm not enjoying, that is when I get in reading slumps. So if you're not liking a book, even if you've heard like it gets better, and you don't have a lot of time, like when in the summer or wherever you have a lot of time, like you can read a book and like read it all the way through, even if you maybe don't really like it, if that's something that you want to do. But during the year for me, I find myself DNFing books a lot more because I'm just not into them at that moment, and I'm like, I don't feel like reading this, so then I DNF it. And that's okay. Like, you don't have to finish every single book. You can always go back to it when you have more time. Because when I find when I'm short on time, I just want to spend my time doing things that are important to me and that I actually want to do. And if I turn reading into like a chore and like something that I don't want to do by like, reading a book that I'm not that interested in and that's not grabbing my attention, then I'm not going to pick the book back up. Like, if I'm reading books I enjoy, I'm going to be motivated to be like, oh, I really want to read today, like, I remember now. You know what I mean? Because you might forget about it and be like, oh, like, what was that book again? Like, I don't really like it, I don't feel like reading. It ends up feeling like another homework assignment if you read things that you don't enjoy. So, feel free to just DNF, just let that weight off your shoulders. You don't have to finish every single book, but of course, if that's something you want to do, push through, and if you can do that. But for me personally, I found that starting to DNF books is the best option for me because I get so unmotivated to read when I'm reading something that I don't like. My last and final tip is one of my favorites, and this has always helped me get a ton of reading done, and that is always have an audiobook. Audiobooks are lifesavers because you can listen to them while you clean, while you drive, while you're on the train, on the bus, on whatever public transportation, while you're walking to class, while you're getting ready for class, and you could get reading done at the same time you're doing something else. So it's like multitasking. It's like my dream. I love multitasking, even though I know like psychologically that's not really a real thing, but I just love feeling like I'm getting stuff done. If I'm walking alone to class, I'll listen to an audiobook. If I'm getting ready for class, I'll listen to an audiobook. It's just nice. So this semester I'm going to try when I'm getting ready in the morning to make it like my morning routine. So I get up a little early, listen to my audiobook, get ready, and then chill and maybe listen to more, or maybe read, or maybe watch on YouTube, whatever. But I want to listen to an audiobook like every day. I want to wake up a little bit early, put on my audiobook, get ready, do my makeup, wash my face, everything, walk around with my little audiobook and be a reading queen. Because I just want to read more, and I think listening to audiobooks is a fantastic way to do that because you can do so many other things while you're reading, and it's just magical. I do prefer physically reading, but I do always like to have an audiobook going so that when I want to read but I don't want to commit to like sitting down with my book, I can walk around and listen to a book, because I find that's the hardest thing for me with reading is like actually sitting down and like putting all my attention into the book. Those are all of my tips for how to manage your time in college and how to get a lot of reading done. If you want me to do another one of these videos, or if you want me to give you tips for something else reading related, or maybe even not reading related, who knows, let me know down below, because I have tons of tips from trial and error, things that I've learned as like being a student in high school and college, and I am an awful time management person, so I've come up with a lot of ways to get myself to manage my time, and now I'm really good at it, but I have to really try at it. Those are all my tips. Also share some tips with me down below if you guys have any other tips, because I would love to know you guys as well. So if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, because that really supports my channel. And if you want to see more of my videos or see more of these tips in the future, subscribe down below. My name is Amber. I upload every single Monday and Thursday and sometimes Saturdays, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!
words that I say. Downtown the lights out but we